Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans, and more fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I haven't done this in a while, and I'm going to try to start back doing it on occasion, for you guys. And this is fantasy, what a fantasy matchup, who would win, a what if. This is the comic book, this is the discussion. And two guys popping in my mind as clear as day is Arturo Thunder Gotti versus, Lucas Matthysse, La Machina, So, Thunder and La Machina, who would win out of a fight? You know what I mean? So, you got someone that's present and you take someone from the past. Gotti, of course, is from the past. Matthysse is from the present. He's presently fighting, knocking out people with jabs and shit. So, you have these two guys that are going in there that can go in there and bang. Gotti is known for his left hook and his thunderous power. That's one of his attributes. He can box until he does get into a brawl. Ironically, Lucas Matthysse, he does have those same qualities. He can box too, but he does get in there with bangers sometimes, and he does, abandon the boxing game, and just really start slugging because he has power. I think the power definitely goes to Matthysse. His knockout percentage speaks for itself. I don't think that he's been in there with guys that Gotti was in there with. You know what I mean? But Matthysse has been in there with skilled fighters, so they've had their share of ups and downs. They're not perfect. They don't have a perfect record or anything like that. That's what I loved. I think that's what a true boxer is, because I think it's always someone for someone that can get in your ass. You know what I mean? So, I think these guys, I would have Gotti outboxing Matthysse. But Matthysse has the power in both hands. And I think if he can catch Gotti, and I don't think really the problem would be hurting Gotti per se. I think Gotti can take a punch. I think he took too many punches in his career. I thought about him today, and all the, the fights and the stuff that he got into while he was, boxing. But his number one problem is his skin. Matthysse with the swelling and Gotti with the bleeding. So Matthysse, he swells easy. Gotti cuts easy. So these guys have, they don't have the toughest skin. They don't have the alligator crocodile skin, the cowhide skin. They have some damn delicate ass skin, and you can tell when they've got whacked to the face. So I think with Matthysse throws chopping punches, It looks for just a spectacular fight, man. You know what I mean? I would see it at 140, because they're both like the same size, stuff like that. And I see Gotti outboxing him, though. I see Gotti outboxing Matthysse until Matthysse hits him with something that brings Gotti in what I call like a blackout mode, because Gotti does get to that point. I remember him in the Ward fight. He was boxing well on that first fight. He was doing everything Buddy McGirt told him to do, but he started getting hit with punches from an older, aging fighter with Ward. Ward was that other guy that everyone loved to see, like Gotti, and they finally matched him up. I don't want to steal the whole conversation with Gotti and Ward, but what I'm trying to say is, Gotti got hit with a couple combos, and then all of a sudden, there wasn't any jab. He was throwing bombs, and I see him doing the same thing with Matthysse. With Matthysse, if he's getting outboxed, Matthysse will slug. He will be more aggressive. Then he starts cutting off the ring like he attempted to do in the Postol fight, like he did it with this Thailand kid. He just last beat and knocked out with a jab. That was crazy. But I see him see him getting more aggressive as the fight goes on. I see Gotti. If Gotti can keep boxing a guy without getting hit, he can play it pretty cool. He's pretty poised until he gets hit. So Matthysse can knock out anyone with his power. But if you want a barometer, if you want a range, if you want to compare him to another guy, look at Garcia. Garcia's a tough fighter. Well, Garcia is a Philly fighter, so it's kind of an exception. But Garcia was able to take Matthyse's power, and still box. You know what I mean? And really, Gotti, I think, would have to do a combination of boxing and punching, because him just boxing like he did with Ward won't keep Matthysse off of him. Matthysse will keep coming until he gets good. And if he's able to hit you, he reminds me kind of your boy Campos. If you remember, he's a Mexican fighter, or like Jose Luis Lopez. These guys were hard punching. Lopez was probably the hardest punching welterweight ever. But you look this guy up, he's devastating. But if he could punch you, he'll keep fighting. Yori Boy the same way. If he can keep hitting you, if he can land, he'll fight. And if he can't, he's either gonna quit or whatever. But yeah, I see Gotti beating Matthysse. I just do. I just see Gotti beating Matthysse boxing. But if he gets in a brawl, he'd get knocked out by Matthysse easy. Simply because when Gotti punches, one thing about Gotti commits to his punching. He kind of reminds me of how, what's a good committed Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a guy, if you notice how he hits the bag, he winds his punches. Gotti does that same thing. Gotti winds his punches before he throws them. But when Gotti does it, just like Errol Spence, these guys, when they commit too much to a punch, so it's almost like when they do land a punch or they come in contact with the punch, what happens is it's like they're taking a picture, and it's a boxing saying, don't take a picture with your punch. When you throw a punch and you're sitting there looking at your own work, and at that time you're in danger to be countered. So that could easily happen to Gotti. If Gotti throws a left hook and he leaves his jaw open trying to commit to that punch and Matthysse counters him, lights out. So there's a lot of ways this could go. You guys tell me what you think about this fantasy matchup. And please subscribe, of course. And you guys have been counterpunched. Peace.